And another useful term that you should also consider is exogenous and endogenous factors. So exogenous factors would include importation of non-Europeans people, but also like, for example, their land, their countries, their current capital. And this is what, yeah, in this section here, that's what Pomeranz is referring to. And this is going to be a very, very useful book for you. And in order, rather than going through this book bit by bit, the trick to reading these kinds of complicated texts, which are famous, is by reading the reviews. So there is a review on HNet. So HNet is humanities and social sciences, and it could very much be worth going through this website in your own free time and seeing if there's anything that is also relevant here, because HNet has been around for a very long time. You can see that this was published in 2000. It's open source, and it's also very well regarded because this is where academic historians come together. And this is a very short article by Purdue, who is a famous historian, and it's come up with the lovely title, Lucky England, Normal China. And when you come across these quite catchy phrases, you can actually use them in your own essays. You could say something like, was England so lucky, or was China really so normal, in response to that? And you can see, as I mentioned, that Pomeranz's article has been very well received. It's been called a brilliant analysis. And as we mentioned, the Great Divergence, sudden and unexpected, convenient coal supplies and access to the abundance of the New World. And he talks about it in terms of an ecological trap, which is really interesting. And this kind of ecological approach to doing history is something that you might have come across more in your economic studies or your geography studies rather than history. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, that could also be a unique angle that you take upon the question. And you could, from this point onwards, I would advise you mostly to look at the ecology side of things and think about the limitations for historians in only looking at ecology when it comes to economic analysis. And what is also very useful about the Pomeranz book is that he talks about 5 categories of arguments for European uniqueness. And I think this is a trap that sometimes people can fall into with these kinds of essay questions, because a lot of the research that you're going to find when you start doing your reading is going to be on the Industrial Revolution and European explanations for economic growth. And it's easy for some maybe to fall into the trap of European uniqueness, almost in the same way to what Clarke has done. But Pomeranz has criticized them, so you should read his criticisms and see whether you agree with them as well.